My dear sweet summoner, you have my cooperation. If it's my undying devotion you seek, then you will need to show me the same in return.
For our second engaged heroic row unit, we have a proper Grand Hero battle with Zephia, leader of the Four Hounds, and loyal to Lord Sombron. Zephia is front and center for a lot of conflict in the story. In Fae, she will be a rare red flying mage. We do not get free-to-play flying mages often at all, and Zephia is going to be quite solid if you want to build one up. For stats, she comes with 41 HP, 40 attack, 44 speed, 23 defense, and 24 res. Attack and res super boons are nice, but clearly Zephia is a speedy offensive unit. She isn't breaking any records, but we have so little free-to-play units of this class type that she stands basically alone if you want a faster flying mage. Now, we've had a solid year of Grand Hero battle units, and Zephia will continue the trend with her unique Pack Leader Tome. It has 14 might and grants another +3 speed. At start of turn, if Zephia has more than 25% health, she inflicts -6 speed and res debuffs and the panic status onto the nearest foes within 5 spaces, and it then spreads to other nearby enemies within 2 spaces of that initial target. If Zephia is healthy when starting combat, she inflicts attack speed and res -X debuffs on the foe, and if she initiates combat, she gets offense and no follow-up. That means she neutralizes effects that prevent her follow-up attacks. For the debuff amount, X is equal to any current penalty on each of the foe's stats, +5, calculated independently. This effect is basically foe penalty doubler, although Zephia will not affect enemy defense, that's fine. Even if the foe has no stat penalties, she will inflict a base -5 attack speed and res. So obviously, foe penalty doubler synergizes with the first part of Pack Leader Tome, a big 5 range debuff for -6 speed and res. Those debuffs become another 6 speed and res in combat, so we get a grand total of -6 plus -6 plus -5 for -17 speed and resistance. Very important to understand, panicked field buffs count as stat penalties, meaning full penalty doubler counts those as well. This means if the enemy had a +6 speed field buff that got panicked, they would have an on-field speed penalty of -12, assuming Pack Leader Tome also lands its own speed debuffs. Panicked buffs will stack with debuffs. When in combat, full penalty doubler racks another -12 speed on the enemy. -12 plus -12 plus -5 is -29 speed. Absolutely devastating combo. If all of this sounds familiar, you would be correct. We have seen this before, but I'll get to that in just a bit. For the last part of Pack Leader Tome, it turns Zephia from a nice support debuffer to an initiator that can rack up the damage using her good offensive stats. With big speed and res debuffs, Zephia has offense and a follow-up to double, and this is important because ranged flyers do not have access to flow B skills. Having it on the weapon makes for some great combos to build around. One such combo is offense and a follow-up with Wind Sweep. Offense and a follow-up neutralizes the follow penalty Wind Sweep inflicts on the user. Should Zephia outspeed, she will be able to double and not get hit back from physical damage attackers. It's a very solid and simple kit, but it gets better. Dragon Fang as a special is fine, but not a must keep. What is going to make Zephia probably one of the more valuable fodder units in the game currently is Attack and Speed Catch 3. I cannot believe we actually got it, and somehow it is Zephia's 4-star skill. Attack and Speed Catch 3 grants +5 attack and speed if the foe is at full health or has an active penalty. Should be pretty easy to meet with Pack Leader Tome's debuffs. Catch 3 by itself isn't a super crazy stat booster, but we now have free-to-play access to lead into the Tier 4. Attack and Speed Catch 4 is on a million 5-star offensive good units, 18 to be exact, and this opens up more skill inheriting options. Relevant to this year's Divine Code's number 4 selection, there are 4 units with Attack and Speed Catch 4. If you did not use the Farina Ephemericon manual from earlier, you can get Attack and Speed Catch 4 with Attack and Defense Range 3 now. While we have gotten some crazy new A-skill stat boosters that do more than just grant bonus stats, Catch 4 is still solid. It also works on both phases compared to, say, Remote Sparrow. The devs know what they're doing with this kit. We've seen it many times. The heroic route units with decent to great base kits, which may include a unique weapon, generally also come with rarer skills. They do this to make people choose between merging Zephia up to use for battle or to use her for fodder. If you do both, that's a very expensive grow investment. To be honest, Wind Sweep is one of those rarer skills, but we have 2 other options at this point. If anything, Attack and Speed Catch 3 is the big prize here. If you were planning to merge Zephia, then the Neutral Nature will give her +1 HP attack and speed, fine to keep. If you want to spend trade fruits, we can get a nice attack super boom. if you can find a way to lay on attack debuffs, maybe that res super boon can be useful as well. For general usage, I would consider the speed boon. That's an important stat when using offense and no follow-up. As mentioned previously, free-to-play flying mages are exceptionally rare. We have 2 of them, not including Zephia. Aversa is a fellow flying red mage and was the first to work with debuffs in Panic. Aversa uses a sabotage mechanic with an HP check and inflicts -4 debuffs to all stats with Panic. Zephia concentrates her debuffs into -6 speed and res and Panic. She inflicts them on the nearest enemies within 5 spaces and it spreads off from there. Aversa's Knight Refine added full penalty doubler just like Pack Leader Tome, so we have 2 similar debuff focused units. Aversa was lucky enough to get a Resplendent outfit. If you have that, that's +2 extra stats. Even without those +2 stats, Zephia is still the better offensive mage. This is also exemplified by Zephia having offensive no follow-up, and her tome also adds another 3 speed on top. Aversa may need to run extra HP skills to activate her debuffs, but she can apply them from anywhere on the map. Enemies just need to be grouped up. Zephia needs to be a little closer to the action, but she hits the nearest foes with an attack range, and it spreads in an area as well. Not that much different from using Menace skills. Zephia's debuffs also just work as long as she's above 25% health, definitely easier to use. Both can debuff support, but Zephia is focused on offense. Aversa inflicts attack debuffs though, and has better bulk if you want to take a hit. As for some other comparisons, we have to look at the 5-star red flying mages. Dual Summer Violet and Constance both have decent attack and speed, and importantly, they both have offensive no follow-up like Zephia. Zephia has good stats for a free option, and you don't really got any other choices if you want a non-5-star unit. Let's reiterate Zephia's general playstyle. Get in range for Pack Leader Tome to inflict -6 speed and res and Panic onto the nearest enemy. Those debuffs spread onto 2 spaces from the target. Zephia initiates and inflicts -5 attack speed and res in combat. Foe penalty doubler kicks in to inflict another -6 speed and res. If the foe has panicked buffs, those count for foe penalty doubler as well. Now Zephia ideally has good speed advantages here. This will proc Windsweep to deny counterattacks from physical threats like archers or distant counter users. With offensive no follow-up, she neutralizes Windsweep's follow-up penalty and gets a double safely. Attack and speed catch, just more stats. Feel free to change to Water Sweep if you want. Now, biggest advantage for Zephia over Aversa is no HP comparing, and her debuffs will hit someone in that attack range. This does make Zephia a lot better for general PvE content, so she can be a great unit for there, since some of those maps have a lot of terrain hazards. Besides stacking more attack and speed with skills like Swift Sparrow, Tank Speed Solo, Bonner Form, Blade Session, etc., Zephia can run Attack Smoke. Sea Slot or Sacred Seal is fine. Pack Leader Tome does not inflict on-field attack debuffs. Ideally, Windsweep keeps Zephia safe for the player phase, but if you apply Attack Smoke's -7 debuffs around the enemy, then Zephia can cash in on full penalty doubler for the enemy phase. With Attack Smoke added on, you get -19 attack debuffs. Zephia is not the bulkiest unit, but will take any help. There is another way to get attack debuffs, and that's with the new Attack and Res Rain Sacred Seal. These won't get doubled because they're in combat, but they can help allies if you position well. We had Attack and Res Rain as a C-skill on the recent Valentin Paula if you want to double up. However, earlier this year, we had an Ephemera for Pledgeon Tharja. If you still have her, now's a great time to use her. That Tharja had Speed and Res Rain 3, which is great for Zephia's more offensive focus. She also has Swift Sparrow 3. You can run that over the catch skill if you want to focus on player phase only. For some other skills, for specials, I would probably swap to Glimmer. High res debuffs means higher Glimmer damage, and Zephia does not have a lot of cooldown options. It's literally Heavy Blade, that's it. Without some cooldown reduction, she can't even proc Glimmer when initiating though, since she doesn't get hit back due to Windsweep. To be fair, Windsweep does not cover magic damage, so Zephia does need to fight those mages fairly. She may run into trouble if they have quick specials. Dragons especially have lots of cooldown perks. In these cases, for longer battles, you could swap to Desperation. Zephia has to play between 25% HP and 75%, but she'll get to double immediately against any enemy type. Sadly, you're not immune to counterattacks though. For premium builds, besides upgrading to the obvious catch 4, you may still want to keep Windsweep. Flying mages as a class lack certain skills to truly be powerhouse attackers. Zephia having offensive no follow-up is a big benefit, but she doesn't have any way to cut into damage reduction, and as mentioned, we got one cooldown skill in Heavy Blade. Enemy phasing, also a bit iffy if you do not inflict attack debuffs, and even then, Zephia can't prevent doubles, and her offensive no follow-up effect is player phase only. No spicy guard bearing 4 type damage reduction skills either. Now the strength of these units is their mobility, and you can share that mobility with teammates. Like in the Grand Hero Battle map, Guidance 4 and Soaring Guidance are excellent options. Initiate safely with Wind Sweep, then Zephia's team flies in with Guidance 4's 2 Space Warping. Summer Ivy has Soaring Guidance at the moment, which arguably might be better because it affects infantry and flyers. Now, if you're not a team player, Zephia herself can run flyer mobility skills to get into attack range, flyer formation, aerobatics. Attack speed Oath 4 can set Zephia up. If you want attack debuff still, then attack smoke 4 is pretty good with the wind sweep build. It adds more survivability. However, if you want attack debuffs for the initial fight, then attack menace can do just that. You can run attack and defense menace since we already have speed and res debuffs. By having attack debuffs in the first fight, you could drop wind sweep for something else. For example, the classic far trace for Kanto, or maybe escape route 4. This is risky because Zephia does not have a lot of defensive tools. You can use remote spiral for damage reduction, but you aren't stopping quick riposte skills should Zephia fail to get a kill. Guard would also be nice. Now, it's not related to attack debuffs, but another Bisca option is speed preempt. This one is more of an annoyance or deterrent. Zephia doesn't have immediate one-shot potential or a way to charge a special like Brave Violet. She just has a lot of speed and res debuffs, that's it. Generally speaking, the ranged flyers continue to have little variance in build options. You got flyer mobility skills, stat boosters, and far trace for Kanto. Remote Sparrow is a nice new addition for damage reduction, but Zephia would have low Flash Sparrow for cooldown. Sadly, too bad. If you want to do a high risk, maybe high reward build, then Brash Assault 4 is an option. Just keep in mind for any non-sweep builds, if Zephia falls below 25% HP, then she may no longer inflict debuffs for later. So, should you promote Zephia to 5 stars? We have one other free-to-play Flying Red Mage, and Zephia's our third overall free-to-play Flying Mage of any color. Extremely rare class type, and Zephia stands out with her good attack and speed stats. Pack Leader Chome is a hybrid support weapon. It inflicts speed and res debuffs with panic on the nearest foes, but also has offense and a follow-up for Zephia to double with that good speed. While Zephia is very similar to Aversa, the debuffing methods are different. Arguably, Zephia is easier to use since a 5-space range is pretty massive, plus her debuffs spread around the target. However, Zephia only applies speed and res debuffs, where Aversa hits all 4 stats. Zephia may need another debuffing source for coverage, such as attack debuffs for her own full penalty doubler. In general, Zephia is still a solid heroic ground unit, especially for newer players. Her base kit not only is functional, but if you do not care about her at all, then Attack and Speed Catch 3 is one of the most valuable skills to have on hand for fodder. It won't even cost 20,000 feathers. No matter what you do, I think keeping at least one copy is good. Flying mages have excellent mobility that can come in handy for general PvE content. Zephia can hit hard safely, and you can swap to Desperation to generally sweep any enemy type. Additionally, Zephia's debuffs actually work in tougher PvE maps. No matter how many HP skills you're stacking on Aversa, you can't really beat 70, 80, 90 HP abyssal enemies. Zephia just needs to get close enough. If you don't want to invest in Aversa at this point, Zephia is a fine replacement, especially if you wanted a more offensive unit. Do not expect her to take down everyone in more serious modes. Damage reduction is just too prevalent, and Zephia needs to get a special proc herself. If the enemy neutralizes debuffs, Zephia basically loses most of her power. You do not want to find out what happens if the enemy is stacking Unity effects. Now, she probably won't be super meta or anything, but Zephia is a pretty good free reward unit. I don't really know why they made her red. I feel like since she has her own Thoron in the Engage, they could have made her blue. Green would have been nice for our first free-to-play green Flying Mage. Literally any color but red would have been fine, especially since she already overlaps a ton with Aversa. Also, if they ever wanted to make an ult for Zephia, her secondary weapon is a sword, which is red. Weird decision if you ask me. Anyway, pretty decent start for our first of the 4 Hounds. Curious if our other Hounds would just be Grand Hero battles for the upcoming Engage banners over the years. Having played the Engage DLC story and seeing what happened with the Ashen Wolves, maybe we'll see Zephia and company on a banner of their own with some slight alterations. That's all I got for now. Definitely go beat Zephia's Grand Hero battle, get those copies. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.